Hey guys, welcome to my video. If you're here, it's because you need to change how you eat or you need to learn about nutrition. Not dieting, but just eating healthy and eating right. I have a few friends who are always getting sick. They're constantly ill and missing school, extracurricular activities because of it. They'll cancel last minute because of it. And I'm not judging. I used to be one of those people. I was sick all the time to a point where I had to quit my job because I was just so sick and doctors couldn't tell me what was going on. I was being diagnosed with all sorts of autoimmune diseases and prescribed a whole bunch of studies and medications. Short story is I fixed myself. So I was talking to another one of my friends and I was like, well, she's probably sick because she doesn't eat healthy. She was like, oh, she doesn't take vitamins. Do you take vitamins, person who shall not be named? And she was like, oh yeah, I take vitamins every day. Actually, I sell vitamins. That made me remember that people don't know what eating healthy really means. And the food industry and the pharmaceutical industry have done such a good job of teaching us what healthy eating meant, of course to their financial gain, that we're just totally lost as to what that means. So I'm going to give you guys 5 tips to follow that are fairly easy, and I know some of them you're going to be like, oh my god, but it's so expensive. If you look at what you spend your money on, I would rather spend it on healthy food than medications and doctor visits and hospital visits and missing school days and work days and time with your family, having energy. I mean, I would rather invest in my health than have to pay for my sickness. That's just me. Of course, you can do, whatever you like, whatever you're comfortable with. There is a transitional period, as with everything. This is not something you just change magically. It's a lifestyle change, and it can be tough. You will see that, wow, I spend a lot of money on groceries, but I don't go to the doctor anymore. I don't take any medications. I used to have to go to the hospital all the time. I don't have to anymore. I have a lot more freedom with my time because I feel great. I'm doing things I've never done before. Picked up new hobbies. It's just how you look at it. I mean, it's where you want to invest your time and your money. All right, so tip number one. Number one, always is water. You need to drink water. And you need to drink a lot of water. So the standard that's being told to us right now is 8 glasses of water per day, whatever that means. If you look at a standard glass of water, I think it's 8 ounces. So they're telling you 64 ounces of water per day. Now this is a standard. Smaller people will need less water, and bigger people will need more water because it's per pound of body weight. So for, let's say me, I'm a big person, I'm really tall, I'm big boned, I've always been heavy. I would, of course, need way more water than someone who's 5'2", like my sister. She's super tiny, she's always been really slender. We're not gonna need the same amount of water because it's per body weight. General rule of thumb I tell my clients is half an ounce to 1 ounce of water per body weight. And yes, that includes fat weight. I have to drink about 100 to 220 ounces of water per day. That's a lot of water, and it's way above the national standard. Do some math, be honest about your weight. Weight doesn't have anything to do with health, by the way. That's just what we weigh. I am extremely healthy and I weigh more than what a doctor has told me I am supposed to weigh. I'm losing fat and I weigh exactly the same. So weight does not matter. Here, the whole point is to make sure that you're getting enough water per pound of your body weight. We are made out of mostly water, and if we're not replenishing that water on a day-to-day basis, you will become severely dehydrated, and it will cause a majority of the problems that we're seeing today. I mean, there's a lot of causes, right? It's kind of a mix of a lot of things that we're doing wrong, but you will see a lot of brain fog, you'll see fatigue, you'll see memory loss, you'll see loss of coordination, you won't be able to sleep right, you're gonna get moody, cranky, you're gonna have dry mouth, you're gonna get halitosis, which is like chronic bad breath. Your joints are gonna start hurting, your skin is gonna dry out, you're gonna get wrinkles, you're gonna start sagging, your muscles will start getting smaller and shrinking, you're gonna lose muscle mass, bone mass. We are basically big bags of water, and what we do on our day-to-day basis loses water, especially with the way we eat today. We get very dehydrated. Alcohol dehydrates you, sugar dehydrates you, and that includes carbs, right? Carbs dehydrate you. The way you eat, sugar is dehydrating you. Just being alive, breathing, being active dehydrates you. So please, please, please drink water. A little note here. I know probably a lot of you are like, well, I drink a lot of water, because it's usually the response that I get. They're like, I drink a lot of water. That's not the problem. I'm not dehydrated. You are dehydrated. Besides the fact that you probably aren't drinking the whatever ounces of water you're supposed to be drinking, you need to be drinking living water. If you think about way back in the day before industrialization and all this nonsense, water used to come from natural resources like springs and waterfalls and lakes and rivers. These sources of water naturally contain bacteria. They naturally contain minerals, salts, some vitamins even. They contain things that are they're just naturally in water. They exist in water, and that is how we would drink them, and that is how our body, it's designed to process water with those added things. Today, we drink purified water or filtered water, and that is what would be considered dead water. There's no value to it. It's like drinking distilled water, maybe a little bit less, severe. There's nothing else besides that H2O. And what that does is, as soon as it enters our body, in order for our body to process it, it basically strips us of those minerals and nutrients in order to be processed. Our kidneys chemically cannot use or process water without certain minerals. If the water doesn't contain those minerals already, it will take them from your body. We start seeing stuff like osteoporosis. Our kidneys start shriveling up. I see this quite a bit. They become just full of toxins because we're just not processing that water correctly. You start getting really bloated. We see a lot of inflammation. You have to drink water that has some sort of mineral content in it. And you'll see now, this is what are called electrolytes. So you'll see water that have like electrolytes added for taste on the label. That's fine. You can drink that. That's okay. The pH I'm not sure the pH matters very much, whether it's acidic or alkaline, but it does need to have a good mineral content. There's a lot of things you can do. You can buy mineralized water preferably from a natural source. You can also buy a natural source water like spring water. That'll naturally come with electrolytes. There's filters that come with rocks. It has like rocks in a little filter, and the water passes through those rocks, so it mineralizes the water, as well as filters out fluoride or whatever your city's putting in your water. You can also convert dead water to living water simply by adding electrolytes. So whether that's buying a powder, they sell powders now, just be really careful and mindful about sugar in your powder, because sugar will dehydrate you, and drinking sugar, especially on an empty stomach, is not good for you. Try to avoid ones that have sugar, but the best thing really is to either buy mineral drops. They have concentrated salt water or seawater. I've seen them at Sprouts. Sprouts Farmers Market. Is it a farmers market? At Sprouts, they have mineral drops that you add to your water, and it mineralizes them. You can also just add a pinch of salt, like not ionized salt, but the pink Himalayan salt or sea salt. Just add a pinch. You can even squeeze limes, citruses. I'm guessing this is why the lemon and water became a thing, because citrus, lime, and lemon naturally have electrolytes, and so it converts dead water, which is purified and filtered water, into living water that has electrolytes. So just squeeze a lemon in there, add some lemon to your water. Make sure it's an organic lemon, preferably, so you're not drinking pesticides. Add a splash of lemon and some salt, and there you're good to go. That will help you detoxify. It'll help the inflammation go down. You're going to start noticing that dry feeling in your mouth goes away. You're probably going to start urinating a lot. You're going to get really bloated for a couple weeks if you're trying to get back hydrated, and then you're just going to deflate like a balloon, where all that water that's been building up because your body hasn't been processing it correctly will start to kind of kick in. Your body will get used to this new environment that you're giving it, and you will feel tons and tons better. If you've been chronically dehydrated for a long time, you might have to drink some more concentrated versions of electrolytes. Purelite, one of those. The bad thing about this is that usually they contain very high doses of sugar. So the best thing would be really to just do your research and buy a powder. You guys are always welcome to comment below and ask me. I can look into this further for you. That way you'll know what to look for. I actually have some. I can send you pictures or whatever you guys need. That was quite long of a number one, but water is extremely important, and not just water, but living water. So correct hydration is really important for you, for your whole body, for your brain. Number 2. is please avoid additives in your food. Please. Additives, any additives, that's colorants, right? They put colors in the food. They put preservatives. Preservatives are horrible. Chemicals, like just stuff, foods, ingredients that aren't natural, that you don't even know what they are. It's like some sort of phosphate, sodium phosphate. Do you know what that is? No. Why are you eating it? Please just avoid these as much as you can. If you grab a bag of Lay's chips and you read the ingredients, there's probably something on there that you're like, what even is that? Like, I don't know what that is. Then don't eat it, please. Because what they're doing is they're poisoning you. They're filling your body with chemicals that do not allow your microbiome to thrive. So if you think about what a preservative is, it's basically something that inhibits bacterial growth in foods. If you haven't heard about this yet, we are filled with living organisms. We are a petri dish of bacteria, and our microbiome is incredibly important to our health. If your gut bacteria are not happy, you will not be happy. These preservatives, what they're doing, because they inhibit bacterial growth, they're essentially killing off all of the organisms that you need to digest food and to feel good. So please avoid these preservatives. Also, if you think about it, you're eating stuff to preserve food. What do you think it's doing to your body? You're essentially becoming a living mummy. That stuff gets into your bloodstream and it becomes deposited in your body. Your body doesn't know how to digest preservatives. It doesn't know how to digest weird chemicals. It knows how to digest stuff that grows in nature. It doesn't know what to do with them, so it just deposits them, usually in your fat cells and your lymph nodes, which is our waste system. Our lymphatic system is our waste system. They just get deposited there, and you see the majority of the population is obese, and it's not because they're eating more calories. It's really not. It's because they're swollen. They're swollen because there's so much junk in their body that their body is just like blowing up, and all of your lymphatic nodules become clogged, and you'll start seeing lumps. You see lumpy people today. That's your lymph nodes being like, ah! They're literally drowning in these toxins that you're eating. It's really important to stay away from additives, preservatives. If you look at a label, you know it's not natural, you don't recognize it, just put it down, eat something else, or just don't eat. You know, there's such a fear of like being hungry. It's like, it's okay. Like, you don't have to eat. If you're hungry and you don't eat, it's actually more beneficial for you than if you eat junk. Just be really mindful of what you're putting into your body. Again, colorants, additives, preservatives, just any chemical, any words on the label that you don't recognize, just don't eat it, because it wreaks havoc on your body. And ever since I stopped, I purged my diet of all these things, I've felt a million times better. I've seen so many huge changes in my health and in my body. It's just so obvious to me now, of course, now that I've been through it, that these things are just toxic. There's options out there. I will keep posting, you guys, foods that I have vetted, because I'm very, very picky nowadays about what I eat. There's potato chips out there that are healthy. You'll see on the ingredients, it's just potato chips and vinegar and salt, or like olive oil and salt. That's it. Like, that's how it should be. Number 3, do not eat sugar first. This is something I learned pretty recently, and it's caused such a drastic change in how my body is digesting food. I used to get pancreas pain, if that's something that you relate to. Not many people feel that, but I used to get pancreas pain, and I wasn't sure what that even meant, because I was like, I'm not even eating sugar, so like, why does my pancreas hurt? Am I getting diabetes? This is something I just learned, that another one of the reasons that we have such high obesity rates. And also, just because you're obese doesn't mean you're unhealthy. There's a lot of thin people out there that are very unhealthy. Actually, most people, honestly, today are unhealthy, if I'm being honest. So your size just means your body's reacting differently to it. There's still a lot of thin people that are extremely unhealthy and eat nothing but junk. The way we eat sugar is very important. We need sugars to survive, right? Like, our body needs glucose. There's a doctor who wrote a book that I'm not remembering because I haven't drank enough water today. He has a lot of compelling evidence that the majority of our diet should actually be carbs. Of course, healthy carbs, right? But the majority of our, I guess you could say, calorie intake, caloric intake should be carbs. More so than protein. I know there's a huge, huge protein fad, especially in the fitness industry, right? They're just gulping down hundreds of grams of protein, which is really crazy. And I used to be one of those people. I used to be a personal trainer, and I was in that gym life. And yeah, a lot of protein, a lot of creatine. So they're finding that protein actually, I guess it would be an overdosage of protein causes cancer, especially when combined with an overdosage of sugar. We need sugars in our diet. Carbs are sugar, or they're glucose, and we need those in our diet. That's like unavoidable. But the way that we eat them is really important. One of the reasons we're seeing so much obesity, and not just obesity, but diabetes, prediabetes, is because we're having really, really high glucose spikes in our day-to-day. What does that mean? It means that when you have not eaten, your body goes into ketosis, which means it doesn't have any sugar. There's no sugars in your blood. You start to burn fat. We haven't eaten, right? And our first meal has sugar in it. Our glucose just like skyrockets. Our glucose levels, and coincidentally our insulin, right? Because insulin is what's used to like combat our glucose levels. It's used to metabolize them. Our insulin skyrockets. And then what happens is we have a really high dosage of insulin just hanging out in our body even after that glucose has gone back down. And what does insulin do? It makes us hungry, because now there's extra insulin in our blood that needs to be used. Makes us want to eat even more sugar in order to bring that insulin down. And then because we eat more sugar, we need more insulin. And it just becomes like this extremely vicious cycle of you being addicted to sugar. The way that we metabolize that sugar is wrong. It's supposed to go to our muscles first. We use that in our daily movements, cleaning the house, taking a walk, walking your dog. We use that in our muscles. And then I'm not too sure where it goes from there, but the moral of the story is that the body processes it in a correct way. If you have these extreme glucose spikes, it does not go into your muscles first. I think it hits your liver first, which is why we're seeing a lot of fatty liver. Like most people, by the time they reach 30, 40, they already have fatty liver. That's not something we used to see before. So there is a trick to this. It's actually very easy. I've been incorporating it into my diet and it's made a huge difference. I haven't been losing weight. I weigh actually more than what I used to weigh when I was bigger. The stubborn fat, the fat that I could not get rid of even with crash dieting, with crazy supplements, with being hours and hours in the gym. This is hormonal fat, the fat that just does not go away. That has been going down, and that's something that won't go down unless you're doing something right. There's no amount of dieting, of crash fad dieting or hitting the gym that will make this go away. It just has to go away because your hormones are balanced. Insulin being a hormone. The trick is to just not eat sugar first, and this includes carbs. Like, let's say you are the person that eats oatmeal in the morning. That's great. I love that. That's a really good, healthy meal. But you're technically eating carbs first. So the first thing you're introducing into your diet in the morning is sugar. So although it is healthy, maybe eat something else first. Maybe eat some carrots or something before you eat your meal. I know that sounds kind of weird. Maybe eat some nuts. Eat some nuts before you eat your oatmeal. Something I like to do. This is why we see that the Mediterranean diet is so effective, because they're so heavily drowned in olive oil. Olive oil is great because of that. It's a healthy fat. So even if you eat sugars after you've taken the olive oil, your insulin level won't spike. So something I like to do, a trick that I use, is that I take a shot of olive oil in the morning. This will help you maintain your insulin levels or glucose levels stable throughout the day. You can do that before you eat your oatmeal. Please do not drink a sugary coffee first thing in the morning. If you're going to drink a coffee, drink it black. Preferably don't drink coffee on an empty stomach. Just drink some water. Don't drink milk. Lactose is also considered a sugar. I see a lot of people drinking soda. If you go to Quick Trip racetrack first thing in the morning, what are people drinking? Like 80-ounce cups of soda. Don't do that. That's crazy. I'm sorry that was okay, that was taught that was okay, but it's really not. You're just drinking poison first thing in the morning. What we do now, and it's completely against what we would consider a traditional breakfast. Right? If you think about the US and what we eat cereal for breakfast. That's sugar with liquid sugar, and sometimes we add even more sugar to it. Like, I used to eat cereal and I would put jam in it, which is like that was my childhood. We also consider like bacon, eggs, and pancakes. You can have eggs for breakfast. That's fine. That's a protein and a fat. Even technically bacon would be okay if that's how you want to break your fast. The point here is that if you haven't eaten, let's say for more than 4 hours, then you're technically starting to fast. And when you want to break your fast is when you don't want to start with sugar. So once you have already eaten vegetables, your fats, your proteins, then you can introduce your sugars. If I have let's say I have eggs, bacon, pancakes, and a cup of coffee, I would usually order a side salad and eat that first with some vinaigrette or something like that. That sounds really weird. Like first thing in the morning, you're like, excuse me, can I have a side salad? People will look at you weird. They might judge you for it, but you will love how you look and you will feel really good about yourself. Side salad, and then I would eat like eggs, bacon, and then my coffee with the pancakes. So it's not so much that I would not eat the pancake. A lot of diets are like, you just can't eat any sugar ever at all. They're super extreme. It's that I strategically place my sugars at the end of my meals. That causes my glucose levels to stay fairly flat. There's not like huge spikes, which is where all the problems come from. They stay fairly stable. That's the word I'm looking for. They stay fairly stable, even though I'm eating sugar. Instead of seeing like this, right, up and down, we're seeing that at the end of my meal, I have a little bit of sugar, and then as I start entering ketosis, it goes back down. So we see gentle slopes with our glucose levels instead of hard up and down spikes. And that, let me tell you, makes a huge difference in your overall health and well-being. If it's simple sugars, always last thing to eat. That's why we eat the dessert at the end. I know I used to make this mistake. I used to eat dessert first because I was like, oh, it gives me more time to break it down, right? Like use it throughout my day, burn calories. The calorie thing doesn't work, first of all. No, save it for the end. Number 4, try as much as you can and as much as it hits your wallet. Please try to eat organic. I know, it's expensive. Yeah, it is. It really is. But if you factor in, again, the health that you will get out of it, I feel like it's worth it. Like, I don't pay money for prescriptions. I barely need insurance, so I get the cheapest one just to have it in case of emergencies. If I break my leg or something, I need to go to the hospital. But I don't have hospital bills. I have old ones from when I was younger because I used to eat like I wasn't supposed to and I was doing all the wrong things. Since I started really learning about what correct nutrition was, I don't have hospital bills. I don't need medications. I'm not depressed, so I don't need depression medication like I used to. I used to have hair loss. My hair's fine. It's getting healthier. I don't spend money on vitamins, supplements. The only supplements I really take are the electrolytes. And even then, I don't really need them because I just buy limes. There's like so much money that is saved in the long run while you see your receipt at the end of the grocery store checkout and you're like, oh my god, like that's a lot. But I think if you factor it in the long run, you'll see that because you're healthier, your expenses just go down because you don't need a bunch of junk. You know, maybe you're like, well, I've never taken medications. Okay, but maybe you have some hair loss and you're taking like a million vitamins and supplements, or you have like a million different shampoos and I don't know, hair creams and scalp treatments. These are hundreds and hundreds of dollars that go into something that isn't going to fix itself until you change how you are inside. Like what is shown on our exterior is what's going on. It's a reflection of what's going on inside. And I mean that both physically and spiritually. If something is wrong with your skin, with your hair, with your teeth, with your nails, something's going on inside of you that's just not right. Your body is screaming for help. And it's showing this with all of these symptoms that you're having that I see more and more people have, and we all have the same thing. We're all suffering from the same things, for the most part. There are always outliers, right? Oh, skincare. That's another thing. People waste so much money on skincare. They buy collagen, they take collagen, they drink collagen, they breathe collagen, or they're always like, they're doing like a 20-step treatment at night and in the morning, and makeup and creams and under eye creamers and face masks. And you don't need all that. Your face will be fine. If your liver, organs, if your insides are fine, your skin will clear up because it's a reflection of what's going on in there. I just use sunscreen. And even then, I don't use the sunscreen that they sell us in the store. I use herbal sunscreen, which exists. I went on this huge spiel. Definitely buy organic, because what organic means is that the producer of said organic food is certified organic because they use little to no or FDA approved pesticides. So our food is extremely doused with chemicals and pesticides, fertilizers. They'll just spray whatever they want. They're not FDA approved, and they'll just spray like harsh chemicals and then give that to you in your food. Even if you wash your food, if our vegetables and fruit is grown in these things, it's gonna be in it. Why wouldn't it penetrate the skin of the the fruit or the vegetable like it's going to. Just like we absorb whatever's in our air and in our environment, what we put on our skin, what we breathe, what we drink. Like, same thing goes for the plant. It's not any different. We're basically more complex plants. If that's the environment of the plant, then of course it's going to get in the plant, and you're just eating, you think you're eating healthy, but you're really just eating chemicals. Try to invest in organic food. That goes for a lot of food. Like, there will be, for example, organic meat, and it's like, how do you have an organic cow? Well, maybe the cow itself isn't organic, but maybe the food that the cow ate is organic. I'm not too sure how that works, actually. That's what I'm guessing. Opt for organic if you can. And with organic, this kind of goes hand in hand, but try to opt for, if you're eating animal products, try to opt for pasture-raised or grass-fed ingredients and wild-caught fish. Wild-caught is preferred than farm-raised, because when you're eating farm-raised food, you're eating whatever the animal ate, which is usually grains that have been grown with a bunch of pesticides and fertilizers. Plus, their living conditions are great, and you're eating all of that. Not only like physically eating them, living in their own filth and all that, but you're also eating the suffering that they went through. Yeah, try to avoid that stuff. Number 5, intolerance testing. This was life-changing. I've been telling everyone who will listen to me to get intolerance tested. There is labs online. You don't even have to get a note from your doctor, whatever they call it. They're not very expensive. It's $45 if you buy them individually. You can buy a 5-pack for $100, which I think is totally worth it. What is $20 a person? Maybe 30, right? $1 a person. If they have different sales that go on. It might fluctuate in price, but $45 max for a person for intolerance testing, it's totally worth it. Knowing genetically what you can and cannot eat, I think is vital to feeling better, because what one person can consider healthy might be completely poisonous for you. I used to eat sweet potato, right? Because you're told that sweet potato is healthier for you than russet or Yukon potatoes, right? White potatoes. So I was like, okay, well then sweet potato for breakfast. I would eat sweet potato and eggs for breakfast. Wasn't the most tastiest thing, but I was so firm on trying to get healthy that I was willing to sacrifice the most important meal of the day with sweet potato and eggs. I felt like crap. Once I got my intolerance testing results, I realized and learned that I am intolerant to egg whites, egg yolk, and sweet potato. While it might be considered, it is a health food. Eggs are good for you, right? But not if you're intolerant to them. And sweet potatoes as well, they're good for you. They're a good carb, but not if you're intolerant to them. There are so many things on there that I was eating because they're considered health foods, and they are good for you, but not for me, because I have a different genetic disposition than the person next to me. It's just how it is. Knowing genetically what you can tolerate is very, very important. I use the one called US Intolerance Testing. You send in hair samples and they're able to test you for over 900 intolerances. It is amazing. And it was only, I think I paid $35. And it has really changed our lives. It makes so much sense why we would have these symptoms of upset from foods that were upsetting us. Now that we all know what we're intolerant to, we can plan our diets accordingly, and we feel so much better. And now we know that if we are going to eat something that we're intolerant to, we know how we're going to respond to it. We know that we do respond to it, and we know what's going on. For example, my husband is intolerant to wheat and oats. So I would make him oatmeal for breakfast, and then he would crash hard. He would not be able to get out of bed. He would sleep all day and then be up all night. And I was like, what is wrong with you? There's like a million things that go through your mind, right? Not that he's intolerant to oats. Or I would make him tacos. That's just something that we eat for breakfast in my family. We have eggs and wheat tortillas. He's intolerant to wheat, so I would make him wheat tortillas in the morning with eggs. While the eggs he can tolerate, the wheat tortillas were detrimental to the rest of his day because he would feel like crap. His allergies. I was not able to open a door without him having an allergy attack. It was really, really bad. Once we started with this elimination, what's called an elimination diet, I think that's more like official term for it because I've heard a doctor be like, oh, you're on the elimination diet. And I was like, I guess, I don't know. And once you go through the elimination diet, you'll see such a huge difference. When I would eat, I thought it was normal to have stomach upset, like have digestive upset. I just thought it was normal. I thought it was something everyone goes through, and it is something everyone goes through, but it's not normal. It's actually because you're probably eating things you're not supposed to, aside from everything that we just talked about, right? The preservatives and the additives and the blah, 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 blah. Also, you're probably eating foods that you're intolerant to. While someone might be like, well, eat a cucumber salad. It's so good for you. Like, that's what I have for lunch every day because it's so beneficial. And they'll go off on this huge spiel. Yeah, cucumbers are great if you're tolerant to them, but if you're not, then you're probably going to feel like crap, and it's going to contribute to your weight gain because you're not going to digest it correctly. You're going to get IBS. You're going to get chronic fatigue. You're not going to sleep at night. You're just not going to feel good, and you're going to look like crap, and it's just not for you. It's really easy to get intolerance tested. I think some doctors are starting to do it. Definitely look into it. I promise you, it will change your life. You will learn so much about yourself, what you can and cannot eat. They will basically send you a list of foods that they tested you for, and then they'll highlight the foods that you cannot eat on a degree of like severity. For example, I think I'm deadly intolerant to, I have a very long list. I'm trying to think of something right off the bat. Cardamom, which is a spice, especially in like Indian food. They use a lot of cardamom, which sucks because I love Indian food, but now I can't have it. I can, but I choose not to because I get like uncomfortably bloated, very uncomfortably bloated. But then I'm like just kind of intolerant to, like, it's like less of a severity to eggs. I could eat eggs every now and then. I probably won't feel so good, but it won't be like I'm eating cardamom where it feels like my stomach is gonna explode. That same company that I just referred to, they'll test your enzymes. That's basically your bacteria in your stomach. They'll test your vitamins and your mineral levels. And then they'll do some non-edible intolerance testing. So like metals that you're sensitive to, which made a lot of sense once I realized. I used to wear stainless steel rings a lot. I would wear it just cover my hands in them because I thought it was really cool. I had to stop. This is a band-aid because I'm actually intolerant to stainless steel. And I would notice that when I did wear them, I thought it was because rings just swell your hands, right? No, my fingers, especially the fingers that I had the rings on, would swell. And I thought it was because maybe the rings are too tight, or I don't know. I had a lot of excuses going on. It was the rings. I'm intolerant to stainless steel, so of course them being on my skin, it's gonna cause a little bit of inflammation. This is white gold, and I never have any issue. It just explains a lot of things that go on, leads you to more conscientious about your body, about what health means for you. I completely recommend it. Those are the 5 tips. Again, number 1 is water. Drink living water. Number 2 is avoid additives. That includes colorants, preservatives, etc. Number 3 was never eat sugar first, eat it last. Number 4 was eat organic. Please eat organically. Number 5 was get intolerance tested. I will put links to the books and websites I have mentioned in the description below. If you have any questions or you have comments, of course, put it in the comment section, comment about it. But if you have any questions, I would love to help with anything that you're going through. I specialize in lots of things. Nutrition is just one thing that I'm passionate about, but I really specialize in energetic healing, light working, right? Generically, it's light working. All of this stuff is connected. Our physical health, our mental health, and then our spiritual health. I'm constantly educating myself. If I don't know something, I will try to find it out for you. I will not judge you for anything you say or comment or have a question on, whatever you want to do. We're here to learn, and we're here to teach you guys and trying to just get you guys to the next level. We are happy to help. I'll see you next time.